I picked a very cold day to come say hello, didn't I? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to Hastings.
That's so sweet of you guys. Thank you. They're beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm so lucky. Well, good morning, you guys. Thank you so much for the beautiful gift. Thank you. So, do we have everybody here now? Yes? Okay, so I heard you guys have been studying weather and science. Can anybody tell me? Well, first I'll just say my name is Meteorologist Wren. I work at Channel 5, and I work in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and we do the weather throughout much of this great state of Minnesota as well as western portions of Wisconsin. And so my job is to just make sure that people living in our state just have the information they need to make good decisions when they go out the door and when they're coming home from work and just going about in their day-to-day lives. For example, today is really cold, right? So you have to have all your warm layers, right? Yeah. Yes?
On the radio, I heard that the temperature is going to be 13 degrees, but wind chill is going to make it negative 26 degrees.
Yes, and that's right. Yeah, so right now we're at about 8 or 7 degrees, and we saw an Arctic front move through last night, and we're moving in much, much colder air behind that. And really what that means is as winds pick up, like you mentioned, even though the air temp could be 7 or a couple degrees below zero this afternoon, it's going to feel closer to 25 below. So really our job at Channel 5 and just the job of a meteorologist is to look at a lot of computer models and to study the weather to make sure that we can help people stay comfortable and safe throughout their day-to-day lives. So thank you again for having me, you guys. I'm really, really happy to be here and talk about weather with you guys. So weather is a measurement of current states of the atmosphere. And I don't know, have you guys heard that word being thrown around here? Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. And we're looking at it, especially in my position, more so from a 7 to 15-day time period. And every day I use a lot of computer models. So have you guys heard of a supercomputer?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, they have the ability to do a lot more than a regular computer. And the models I look at every day at work are generated or made from, and the information I'm looking at is made from these really, really powerful computers. So it's a really cool job that I get to look at all that information every day. But there's a difference. Have you guys heard of climate too?
Yeah.
So climate is more so weather in a longer period of time, and climatologists like to look at weather over a 30-year time period. So that's not what I do. I look at weather more so, I'll look at it, but that's not my job to update climatology data. My job is more so to update over the next 7 to maybe 15 days. So that's what I look at. Yeah, so have you guys been talking about, have you heard of high pressure and low pressure?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so important because that is driving a lot of the weather across the planet. So winds help to carry different types of air to us, and as various air masses, we call them air masses. So what that means is they can be cold or they can be warm, but they don't just stay in place, they move, right? That's why we're so much colder today into next week than we were a couple weeks ago, because the air is moving and it's bringing different types of weather to us. So pressure, we've got low pressure, and you always have weather going from high to low because it's trying to get into a state of equilibrium, and you can just think of that as being balanced, right? And so I'm going to show you a quick experiment here to kind of explain that. So I'm going to put this mic down for a second. I'm going to try to not burn myself. So do Do you guys think that this egg can fit into this jar?
Yes.
But I can't push it in, right, with my hand. I might be able to. That's exactly right. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to not. We'll put this guy in. We'll do this 2 different ways. Sometimes it doesn't fully work, but eventually. Look at that. It's still smoking. So why, you guys, why do you think that just happened? Yes, it was pressure. That's an example of low pressure inside of this jar. So what happens is when I lit the paper on fire and I put it in here, it removes a lot of the oxygen, a lot of the air in this jar. And what happens is the egg is in the way, right? The egg is like a block in the road because it's preventing the higher pressure outside of the flask from balancing the lower pressure in the jar. So the egg gets pulled in so that the air can balance itself. So very, very cool example. There are a lot of cool experiments that can showcase high and low pressure for us. But yeah, it's like a vacuum. Have you guys ever been on a plane? Yeah. Yes? No. Well, when you go on a plane, sometimes your ears pop, right? Yeah, and that's again because we have different pressures at different levels of the atmosphere. So again, the atmosphere goes way, way high up to the tip top of the earth, right? So it's just different pressure based on how many molecules are at each sort of level of the atmosphere. And we're kind of at the bottom here at the ground. So let's talk about hail. Have you guys heard of hail? Yeah. Would you believe me if I said, what type of sizes of hail are there? Yes.
They can be small pieces, they
Yep.
can be kind of big pieces, and they can be really big pieces.
Yes, they can. They can. And you know what? They can even get a little bit bigger than a golf ball. So here, yes, exactly, a softball. So here's hail can get to the size of a baseball. And this is about as large as hail can get. Yes. We don't commonly see hail this large in Minnesota, but if you go towards Colorado, they have a better chance of seeing a lot of these larger sized hails. But we can see golf ball size hail, and we are capable of seeing large hail. But it's more common to have penny size, nickel size, dime size, pea size, smaller hail. But it still can do damage to crops, and it can do damage to cars. And let's see if I can pull up a video of some of the hail that you can see. Let's see if we can pull this up. Yeah, that's a good one. Will that come up here?
I think so.
Are we good? Well, while we're waiting, oh, here we go. So do you guys know how hail forms? Have you guys heard of in storms an updraft? And have you heard of downdrafts too? Wow, you guys are smart. You guys are smart. So yes, so the stronger the updraft, the bigger the hail can be. So when you have very strong thunderstorms, you're capable of bigger hail. This is in Colorado. So this.
I was in Colorado.
Oh. But what do you guys think some of the big concerns would be here? Your car. Very good. Yes. A lot of car damage. It can. Can you go to the very end of the video? Yeah. Go to the very, where is that? Yeah. So here's a car that definitely got impacted by that hail, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
and so that's why, you know, you hear a lot about thunderstorms and lightning, and you hear a lot, you can turn it off. It did. But, you know, we hear a lot about tornadoes. We hear a lot about hurricanes. Sometimes we forget that hail can be a really big damage as well to a lot of different things. So I'm going to show you guys an updraft too. Okay. So, whoop, 2 weeks. I pulled it out. No. So did you guys see? When the hair dryer was really low, it had trouble holding the ball, right? Do you guys see that? It fell off. But what happens if it's really high? See? And if this updraft was even stronger, it could hold something the size of that softball. And so that's how you can get this really big hail, and it builds inside the cloud with moisture from the cloud and raindrops adding on to the hail. So you do get these really big hailstones. You can. All right, so hail we've gone over. It can be pretty dangerous though, and I think it's something that we oftentimes don't really talk too much about hail. We talk more about lightning and tornadoes, and those are big risks as well. So tornadoes, a major threat here really across much of the U.S. And Minnesota sees quite a few tornadoes, especially as we head into the end of spring and into the summer. And we're looking at a little bit of a tornado simulator here for you guys. So do you guys know the difference between a tornado and just a funnel cloud? Yeah, what is that? Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. They can be scary. They can be. But it sounds like you guys were smart about it. And when you are dealing with a tornado warning or the risk for tornadoes, I think, you know, anywhere you go, whether it's home or school, there's all sorts of safety precautions put in place to help keep you safe. So even though it is a little scary, you can definitely keep safe in a tornado. Here's a quick look at our tornado simulator. Do you see what's happening here? Well, let's see if I can get this to really get going. We got to turn this up.
It's like twirling around. Oh, yeah, no, I see it. Turning it for a tornado. For me, a tornado.
So do you see what it did? It starts at the top, and then you've got a funnel that goes all the way to the bottom. And once it's touching the ground, then it's a tornado. Yes.
At my old grandma's house, every night we used to go swimming there was always a tornado.
Oh, really?
Coming right over.
You know, there can be pretty common. A lot of them that form are not super big or strong tornadoes, but they all have that potential to be dangerous. So here I'm going to show you one other thing with this. So this is one of the ways that we are able to identify when a tornado is touching the ground when we're trying to keep people safe and we're at work. We can actually see when it touches the ground, it will move dirt and grass, and if it hits a shed, it will move maybe some of the wood. And so you can see debris swirling around, right?
So cool.
And that's one of the ways that we help keep people safe. But it is pretty cool. So tornadoes also can cause big hail. They can cause heavy rain. They can have a lot of lightning with them. in terms of safety with a tornado, you never want to be by the windows. You want to get into a basement. If you don't have a basement, you definitely want to stay away from windows. Any sort of area where you're just surrounded by walls is a good idea. Yeah. So I think a lot of us have seen tornadoes, right? Or have heard of people that have seen them. So they are common, but you can definitely still stay safe in them. And I'm going to show you guys a quick video of a tornado. This is not a particularly large tornado. Let's see. Go back. It says tornado. Go back to my email. Let's see. Scroll up. Thank you. So what's interesting about this is it might be kind of hard to see some of this. So here you actually have a funnel cloud, a condensation that is coming to join. It has made contact with the ground, but it's hard to even see where the rest of the tornado is, right? So this is kind of cool, though. You can kind of see the funnel here, but that's what I'm saying. They can be also quite small. They can be short-lived, or they can be really huge, extremely damaging, and also can last for very long periods, like hours. But what do you think makes it more dangerous? Yep. And what also makes storms, do you want to pause? We'll just pause quick. What makes storms really dangerous too is how many people are around them, right? It's not always the strength of a storm that makes it dangerous. So if you could have a very, a pretty small or weak tornado, but if it's in the middle of a city, then that's going to mean it's more dangerous. Or you could have a really strong tornado, but if it's in the middle of a field and then it's short-lived, maybe 10 minutes, then it can be actually not as damaging. So it is, again, population and the number of people in various parts of the country and the globe really can determine how dangerous a storm is. So that's a quick look at tornadoes, you guys. Let's talk about thunderstorms. Yeah? So I'm going to show you guys a quick video. I know you guys have seen updrafts, right? You saw those. Trying to think. We'll do this guy.
Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I've seen this one.
Have you guys seen some of these? So I'm actually really lucky too at work. I get to, in the past I've done a little bit of storm chasing. You have to be safe about it. But there's an ad covering things for us. Thanks, Adam. You can see some of the rain coming down. You can see the rotation in the storm, right? A little bit. You can kind of see it wrapping around. And so this is a pretty ominous, pretty scary looking storm, right? You'd want to stay away from it. But what is cool is we get these videos because a lot of meteorologists do what's called storm chasing, and they're very well trained, they're comfortable and know what they're doing, but it helps get us more information about different types of severe weather. And a couple of people I work with have done a lot of storm chasing. Dave Dahl, Jonathan Uhas. I've done a little bit, but it is exciting. It's also kind of scary. So I'm going to show you guys a quick example of lightning. So we're going to be careful here because this is going to involve electricity. But can you tell me, have you guys heard of charges?
Yes.
And positive and negative charges? There you go. Electricity, yes, exactly. So what happens in thunderstorms is you oftentimes get in a cloud, you'll end up getting charge separation. And so it builds up and it builds up and then it wants to zap something. So it will end up hitting the earth, which will also end up with a little bit of a charge at the surface. And that's how lightning will happen. And usually you'll see a number of lightning strikes. Have you seen a single strike? Yeah. That's oftentimes the one that's reaching the ground. But you've got to be careful because there's still the potential for a number of other lightning strikes when you do see even one and you think that's it, right? So lightning can be very dangerous. It can strike easily 15 miles away from where a storm is. So if you hear thunder, it's time to go indoors. That's a good rule of thumb.
I watched thunder outside.
You have? Oh my gosh.
I have.
So do you guys know why you hear thunder? It is really loud. Well, lightning is so hot that as it heats the air, you get a really major shock that spreads, and that's that noise of thunder. And that's because, guess how hot lightning is? 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Five times hotter. Yeah, 5 times hotter than the sun. So when it moves through the air, it creates a shock, and that's what you're hearing is this cracking boom. Yeah, I know. It is. So, well, I think 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, which is extremely hot, but still a little less hot than if you got in there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna need my assistant here. No, it'll be this guy for today. Okay, so he's got to stand back a little. Just wait. So this rubber tarmac is bringing positive charges, negative charges. It's going positive up, negative down. So it's building up charge in here. And you got to be careful. You're good. You go closer. Let it build for a little. You'll get a good one. Yeah, you're doing great. So why do we see lightning first, you guys? It's because we actually see this before we hear it, and that's because light travels faster than sound. Which is, again, why when you hear thunder, you know you've got to get out of the way, go indoors, make sure you're safe. Let's see. What time is it? I got to make sure we're not. Okay, we've got some time. So I'm gonna unplug this. All right. Okay. So zap it a little bit more. You good?
I think we're zapped out.
It'll zap you though. It will. We good? Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm gonna take this off. Should we do this or no? Yeah. Okay. All right. So what I need you to do.
I have rubber soles on it. I think I need that.
No, you do.
Okay.
Okay. So what I need you to do.
Yes.
Well, I could actually probably wear this. Is turn this on. I'm just gonna hold this.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Do you want to take your ring off?
No, it doesn't matter.
All right.
It really doesn't matter. Okay. I just don't want this to get zapped.
Okay.
So let's see. Go for it. So you guys may notice that. Do you see my hair moving? I can feel it. Is it doing anything? It is? It feels like it's doing something. No, I can do a little more. Huh. So I think that's a pretty good example. You liked it? It looked nice? Yeah. I'm sure they'd love it at work. So yeah, electricity can do some pretty cool things, right? Yeah. It can be dangerous, yeah. But the fact that I'm standing on this box makes it more safe. But I thought I'd do that instead of you guys for today. All right, so a couple fun things to talk about, I guess. We could probably talk about hurricanes a little bit. You know, it doesn't fully impact us as much here in the Twin Cities, but we do sometimes still get, every once in a while, we'll get some remnants when it comes to rain from hurricanes. But that's probably one of our main impacts, or just remnants, and that's not even as common. So I'm going to show you guys, have you guys heard of radar?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you quickly just a radar loop here. Can you get this, Adam? So this isn't as scary. This is just the radar loop. So I'm not showing you anything too scary. But this is Puerto Rico. It's Hurricane Irma. Very, very, very strong hurricane. Can you guys tell me what that circle is?
It's the middle of the hurricane.
Exactly. It's the eye. And this is the eye wall right around where you see that empty space. And then these are bands of rain and storms that move onto, that are moving actually up into Florida eventually. That's what this is, Florida.
Hurricane, that happening right now?
No, this is just a radar loop from a previous storm. But what is interesting about hurricanes is, again, do you guys remember when we were talking about this with high and low? Well, just like that is trying to be balanced, the atmosphere across the world is trying to be balanced, and hurricanes is one of the ways that happens. So it brings a lot of warmer conditions to the poles, to the North Pole, and it also it distributes heat from the equator. So what feeds these storms is built up energy and warmth in ocean waters. So I'm going to show you guys something else too from hurricanes. So have you guys heard of hurricane people that fly into hurricanes to get data? Yeah? So here's an example, but so they're flying through the hurricane right now. This, I don't know if they're flying through Irma. I'm not sure which hurricane this one is, but this is, I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. But this is what people will do to make sure that you guys are safe and that we're safe here across the country, is we get information from the hurricane itself to know how strong it is. But what's really cool is they'll do different passes through the eye wall and crisscross so that they make sure they're getting accurate information, because they're taking a lot of information from the storm. So what's cool here is you'll see it's flying into the eye now. And everything will get quiet, right? And they can see blue sky. Remember that empty dot on the radar loop? Yeah. That's what this is. They're in it. Yeah. Isn't that cool? That they fly in to make sure that we stay safe. They get information from the storm. And I'm lucky to work with a meteorologist at Channel 5 that does this. It's crazy though, right? Yeah. So we covered hurricanes. Now we're just going to quickly talk about something that I love. No. Not going down that rabbit hole. Do you guys know what these are? Do you guys, they look really different. Do you guys think that they have different, they all are different, that's true.
Different patterns.
Do you think they have different number of sides? Because they look so different. Well, can you guys help me count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Huh. Well, that can't be right. Let's see if we can find some more. How about these? That one looks weird, right? What is that? Looks like a dinner plate. So, should we count? Let's count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all have 6 sides, even though they're all so different. Isn't that cool, you guys? All right. So I think we've gone through a lot of the topics that I wanted to get through, and I wanted to make sure I can let you guys ask a couple questions. Do you have any questions about the weather or kind of what I do. Because I'm sure, you've seen us on the green wall, right? Yes. Yes, exactly. Oh, really? Very cool. Well, I know that they offer, you can take some classes and you can definitely be a spotter. We rely very heavily on the information that people offer us both online and via email or calling in with weather observations. It really is helpful to us because we can't be everywhere. We have to be in studio. So that's really cool if she wanted to get involved. There are a lot of ways to do that. Yeah. Yes? Blizzards this is interesting. Good question. So I just got asked, what do you do in blizzards? Now, first I want to just explain quick what blizzards are. So right now, we've got a blizzard warning across western Minnesota, but we're not looking at heavy snow. So why do we have that warning? Well, the reason why and what you do in blizzards is you have to be careful on the roads because blizzards, more than the amount of snow you get, are focused on visibility and blowing and drifting snow. So if you can't see more than a quarter of a mile, if you can't see well in front of your car because the snow is blowing and drifting, that's blizzard conditions if it persists, if it continues for 3 or more hours. So it doesn't just matter about how much snow you are getting. If you already have snow on the ground and it's light and fluffy snow and you have strong winds, that snow will blow around and you won't be able to see when you're driving. So that's why we have those warnings so people can be careful on the roads. And what you'd want to do is just try to stay off the roads if you can. Yeah. Yes, yes. This? Why is this here? This is my last name. So my name's Wren Claire. And I think it's just on the boards to let you guys know. Yes.
What if you're driving and then a tornado just crashed down right above you?
Well, that's a good question too. That's why we suggest, on days where it's going to be, there's a risk or there's the chance for strong storms or any sort of severe weather. That's a day where your parents, your teachers, and everybody, they're going to be checking in frequently to check and see what the weather forecast is saying to make sure everybody's safe so that that doesn't happen. But if that does happen, you do want to, get off the road or stay out of the tornado's path. That can be challenging though, because tornadoes don't just go in one line. They move and they can make sharp turns. So you do want to kind of make sure you're aware of what's happening around you. Yeah.
Your last name is Claire's name in Jurassic World.
Ah, that's a good point. I like that. I hadn't thought of that. Yes. Do you pull over for a little bit? What do you do? Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, exactly. That's very, very so. That's why it's always smart to have, especially in Minnesota, to have in your car, a flashlight, some blankets, some water. I think we all have those things in our car to make sure that if we have to pull over for a bit, we're okay. Yes. The largest, yes, it can be, this is a softball, and they can get to about this size. I could probably pull up a picture of the largest hail ever recorded, if you want to just Google that or YouTube it. But it's not round like this. It's really kind of a weird shape. And there are a lot of little spikes because what happened when they're really big, when the hail is really big, you guys, these multiple hails will join together like this oftentimes. So it won't be like a perfect circle or anything like that, where you sometimes see almost perfect circles with the little ones. I don't think this is it, farther down. Hit that one. That looks more like one of the larger ones I've seen. But do you see how many spikes are in that? I don't know. This looks a little shoddy. Yeah, this is clickbait. I actually probably have it in my book here. I just need to. I actually don't have it here. Well, I'm sorry I can't show you guys that picture, but you can kind of think of it like a lot of hailstones coming together to form a really large hailstone. Yes.
Last week I went to the science museum and I went to the
Oh, cool.
and then I watched the tornado.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of people are watching chasing storms.
Yeah, they are, but it is dangerous too. So you do want to make sure that you're being safe about it because people do get hurt doing it.
There was huge storms.
Yeah, they can be really, really large. So it's cool stuff though to do. Yes.
What if there's a tornado and it's driving from the
Yeah, it can take your car out, but hopefully you're not by the car, right? So if your car is parked, yeah, sometimes they're strong enough to move a car, pick up a car, drop it. So yeah, you can see a lot of damage to cars with tornadoes. But usually the path is pretty narrow, so it's not as widespread as you would see with maybe straight line winds that cover a larger area in a strong line of thunderstorms in the summer. Yeah.
Do you have to pull over if it's a blizzard that ate you?
Good question. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Yes. Yes, both of you guys. We'll do 1 and then 2. That's a great question. A bathroom is a good idea. You can go to the bathroom, and if you can get in the tub, closet. Yeah. So those are good options. Yes.
How many blizzards can there be in
That's a good question. There's no set number of blizzards. There's no set number of tornadoes. There's no set number of any sort of weather event that is a maximum that can happen or a minimum. Anything can really happen. What we talk about is more so sometimes averages, which just means what we typically see in a given season. But that doesn't mean that we can't see something that isn't common. So you could see a number of blizzards in a winter, or you could see none. Is that kind of answer? A little bit? Okay. I forgot to answer your question. I apologize.
One time I saw a blizzard in Minnesota and a big.
Oh yeah.
I heard a big roar of lightning.
Thunder snow, yeah. You can have thunderstorms with snow. Yeah, you absolutely can.
We thought that you wanted a picture.
Yes.
So to make it easy, we're going to have Miss Elson and Miss White sitting, you guys, but you're going to turn this way. So turn your bodies around towards us. And now, are you guys ready? Squish together. All right, that's good. That's good. Squish. That's good. Squish. All right, you guys get to stand up.
I think we're gonna do the photo now, but yeah, what is it?
One time I've been in this big flood, and my mom and we saw hail too. And guess
Wow.
the flood was so much that guess what?
What?
If there was more of flood, it would carry a car.
Yeah. 6 inches of
And ours
flooding
is a
can do
truck,
that.
so that's good.
That's a lot. Yeah, that is good.
I can swim in 6 inches.
Yes. But when it's moving, it can pull you off your feet. That's the problem. It's not how deep it is, it's the fact that it's moving.
Also, so one time I was like, my dad, his tire popped
Yes.
on the side of the road.
Oh, man.
So we needed to pull over, and we needed to stay there for a long time. And it was
Where?
No one will be finished.
Hey, you guys.
Oh, gosh, you scare me.
I know, right? I'm big and tall. Hiding in the back.
Behind you.
Look right there in that corner.
Sit down in the front.
That corner.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? I don't know.
Hey, guys. Let it be for a bit here. Hey, we're going to be taking photos. You guys got to focus.
They're on YouTube.
Come on, come on, come on. It's not YouTube.
Yeah. It should be a live YouTube.
Is it TV? It's on Instagram.
It's on live.
All right. 1, 2.
I went like this. I was doing bunny. And YouTube. I was doing bunny. We're on YouTube. Yeah.
I was like, you're not saying
What is going on here?
We're on YouTube.
It's not YouTube.
Instagram?
No, it's just a recording.
I'm flashing. I'm flashing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had so much fun spending the morning with you guys. Oh, yeah. Stay warm. It's going to be a cold one. Bye. Bye, you guys.
You know, so how is this going to be for?
In case this exploded.
What do you call that egg?
Because